Hi, today I'm going to visit both Harry's Walls and the garrison on St Mary's in the Isles of Scilly. The Isles of Scilly stand as a pivotal point near the entrance to the English Channel, historically marking a crucial passageway in the ongoing power struggles amongst European nations. Dating back to Tudor times in the 16th century, these islands assumed a significant role as a harbour and operational base for naval forces and privateers alike. The harbour at Hugh became the primary anchorage in the Isles of Scilly. In 1551, recognising its strategic value, efforts started to fortify it against potential enemy attacks. Started during the reign of Edward VI, Harry's Walls are the remnants of an unfinished artillery stronghold aimed to protect St Mary's Island and its surrounding waters. Originally planned as a square fortress with angular bastions resembling arrowheads, a combination of financial constraints, changing threats and construction challenges are the likely reason that Harry's Walls were left unfinished. Today, only the southwestern section of the fort remains, as other defences were built, notably at Star Castle in 1593, which I'll cover later in this video. Critics throughout history have raised concerns about the fort's positioning, size limitations and its defensive capabilities. However, recent research suggests that the stronghold effectively controlled the harbour and might have been part of a larger defensive network. Preserved remarkably well, the surviving bastions and connecting curtain wall, crafted from granite blocks and rubble, offer an insight into Tudor-era military architecture. A prehistoric standing stone, later used to help navigation at sea, is positioned just to the north of the fort, with a modern navigational aid positioned alongside it. I start the garrison walk at the garrison gate that bears the date of 1742. As you go through the gate, you'll see the guardhouse to your right and the gatehouses on your left. Up ahead to the left is the powder magazine right next to the detention cell. Maybe the threat of being right next to that much gunpowder kept the men in line. I'm going to follow the outer wall first before heading inland. So I take a right turn at the beginning and head towards Newman House, which was originally built as a garrison storehouse. I walk past the 18th century curtain wall, and the first battery I come across is a King Charles battery. Not much is known about the origin of this battery, but it was probably built during the English Civil War in the 17th century. During the Napoleonic Wars, the King Charles garrison was rearmed in 1793. This included installing this traversing platform gun that allowed the gun to be quickly repositioned. Now, there is no wall on this section, it's just a 17th century earthen bank. That's because the wall was never completed. The building of the wall stopped in 1748 when the war with France ended, but when the war restarted in 1756, 8 years later, it was felt that the earthen bank was adequate as the money was needed for mainland defences. This is the first redan on the walk, which I'll explain their purpose later on. I felt bad that I had to disturb this sunbather, but hopefully they found another spot. This is another battery named after Colonel George Boscawen, who commanded the regiment that captured Louisbourg in Canada from the French. Sometime around 1900, this large building was constructed to house the diesel engines that powered searchlights so that the newly installed guns could fire on enemy ships in the dark. Before I head into the Woolpack battery, I head through this doorway to a World War II pillbox. It has really commanding view of St Mary's Sound. This is the Woolpack battery, the largest gun battery at the garrison. Built back in the 1740s, its main job was to defend the harbour from ships sneaking through St Mary's Sound. The ferry from the mainland, the Solonian 3, uses that same route. During the Napoleonic Wars, it had 11 9-pounder guns, but they never had to use them in a real battle. Nowadays you can see some old guns here, mostly short 9-pounders and some 32-pounders from the early 1800s. There is another Woolpack battery inland of the garrison, which I'll get to later in this video. The garrison walls feature several of these V-shaped redans that stick out. Having several redans allows for setting up crossfires, which allowed shooting at ships coming from different directions, causing chaos and fear. Each redan has two sides, with small guns and a few soldiers defending them. This is the Morning Point Battery, home to a historical line of defence, once protected the entrance to Porthcressa Beach from St Mary's Sound, dating back to at least 1655. The current battery structure, dating back to the 1740s, was constructed into a natural outcrop using stone sourced from nearby quarries. Initially armed with 5-pounder guns, today it showcases a short 18-pounder gun dating back to around 1805. Additionally, a concrete pillbox from the Second World War now occupies one of the original gun emplacements. I now follow the 18th century garrison wall heading north past the Lower Broom platform, a battery partly destroyed through coastal erosion. By the Upper Broom platform, you'll find the two Trinity House cottages built in 1858 to house the lighthouse keepers. Upper Benham Battery stands as another original bastion of the garrison, offering a commanding view over Porthcressa Bay. Its primary function was to safeguard the bay against potential enemy landings, a duty it faithfully performed until the outbreak of the Second World War. Historical records indicate the presence of 7 4-pounder guns at this site in 1796, with 4 gun platforms still visible today. Throughout the Second World War, Upper Benham Battery continued its defensive role, augmented by the construction of a concrete pillbox in one corner. The Sallyport is a narrow gate that passes under the garrison wall. Defenders would utilise it to stealthily exit and catch enemies off guard in other areas of attack. Even today, remnants of its mechanism remain visible, including a groove and a slot for a chain connected to a heavy gate that could be swiftly dropped to thwart enemy entry. This is the Garden Battery, later known as the Duke of Leeds Battery, outside Hugh House, built in 1792 as officers' mess. It is now used for offices. The Higher Battery, one of the original bastions on the garrison walls, was constructed to defend Hughtown and its harbour. While likely part of the original design, the Higher Battery is first documented in 1655 and underwent probable restructuring in the mid-1740s. Some guns were positioned to fire along the wall to deter enemy soldiers attempting to climb ladders, while others targeted enemy ships and troops in the harbour and town. In 1796, the Higher Battery housed 7 guns, akin to the 4-wheeled example seen today. The stone paving was laid to withstand the impact of the heavy guns when fired, and a small building provided shelter for a sentry. As I get back to the main entrance gate of the garrison, I head towards the centre of the garrison and past Star Castle. Star Castle was built in 1593 and replaced the unfinished Harry's Walls due to the threat of another Spanish invasion after the failure of the Spanish Armada attempt in 1588. It is built in the shape of an 8-pointed star and has an outer wall that had strategically placed guns that covered all defensive points of the castle and Hughtown. It is now a 4-star hotel. As I go further into the middle of the garrison, there's a tennis court and the garrison field that is home to the smallest football league in the world. It consists of 2 teams, the Garrison Gunners and the Woolpack Wanderers, and this is the home ground of both teams. There is also a campsite here as well. This is the other Woolpack battery that was built in 1901. It's on private land now and was converted to accommodation for hotel staff. I head back down to Hewtown to get my boat back to St Agnes where I'm staying. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please pop down and give it a like if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. So until next time, take care.